Greetings. My name is Dr. Wardell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding person on the program this afternoon. It is a person that you should know. Mrs. Sharon L Almon. She's a relationship coach, author, and motivational speaker promoting healthy marriages. She's located at Stone Mountain, Georgia, formerly of Waukegan West Side. So it is a person that you should know. Greetings, Mrs. Almon.
Greetings to you, Dr. Brooks.
We're very happy that you've literally taken time from your busy schedule to fly from Atlanta, Georgia, to be with us on Community Forum. But you have another special purpose for coming here. You want to tell us about it?
Sure, I'd love to share. Well, this is an honor, first of all, Dr. Brooks, for being with you this afternoon. And I am here because we are celebrating my 40th high school reunion.
Wow.
Waukegan East, and I was one of the first classes to go to Waukegan East as a freshman and to graduate from there. So I started there in 74, graduated in 78. So we were the first freshman class to go all 4 years.
Okay.
So it's very exciting to be here after 40 years. We flew in this morning, and so it's been a busy day.
I have to congratulate, our contact person, Mrs. Audrey Russell. And when you were in high school, she was Audrey Brown.
Yes.
She's the one that put us in contact. Otherwise, we would not have been able to share this opportunity.
That's true. Audrey Brown Russell and I were very good friends in high school, and I'm so excited to be able to see her this weekend. We took a lot of home economic classes together. So we were just good friends, lovely young lady, and yes, we talked, and she said that she was going to recommend that I come on here and share what I was doing in my life.
Fantastic. It's amazing how God put people together, right?
That's true. So
well,
true.
I want you to tell our listening audience, let you tell about your personal and professional background.
Sure, certainly. First of all, I am so proud to have been born and raised in Waukegan, Illinois. Like you said in the introduction, I was raised on the west side, 1125 Lorraine Avenue in Waukegan. Proud student I went to elementary school at Whittier, and then I went to Glenwood, I went to Webster Junior High, then I went to Waukegan East. I did 1 year at CLC in their dental program. So I have pretty much attended all of the schools within the Lake County arena. And after I went to school here, and I decided after that 1 year getting my certification in dental, I went to 4 years at Greenville College, which is now Greenville University. And I received my bachelor's degree in speech communications. And that's where I met the love of my life, and I'll share a little bit more about him later. But my degree is in speech communications, but I did most of my work has been done in workforce development. I've spent about 20 years of my life in the non-for-profit arena. While I was in Illinois, I worked for Catholic Charities for several years as the self-sufficiency manager and coordinator of that program. And then when I went to Georgia, I worked for 13 years for Jewish Family and Career Services as the director of the Career Services Division. And what I'm doing now is I'm the DeKalb County Department of Community Supervision community coordinator, and that's for individuals who are in reentry services. So for individuals who've been incarcerated that are coming back home, I go out and I build capacity. I have very exciting days. Some days I'm at the Capitol talking to our legislators, advocating on their behalf, and then some days I'm meeting with the public-private sector to make sure that they have adequate resources to help reduce the rate of recidivism. So I lead a very full life. And then my husband and I also are coordinators of the marriage ministry at the Word in Action Ministries, where my senior pastor is Bishop Jackson, and our First Lady is Mary Jackson. So very excited to be serving in that capacity as well.
You mentioned Waukegan West Side, so that our listening audience may get a better picture of you and some of your contemporaries. You mentioned about Dorothy Jackson. I know Dorothy Jackson and I were contemporaries. As a matter of fact, she was the Deputy Equal Employment Opportunity Officer at the Navy Public Works Center at Great Lakes, and when she left, I took her place there. But you and Dorothy are good friends, right?
I know Mrs. Jackson very intimately. I won't say Dorothy because I have so much respect for her. She was my next door neighbor, and then her children and I are like siblings. Stephanie Joy Jackson is a dear friend. She was in my wedding. We're like sisters. And Mrs. Jackson and I, we lived next door to each other as we grew up. So they would borrow sugar. We would borrow sugar if we needed. It was the old time community where you looked out for one another, loved one another, an extended family. So yes, I know Mrs. Jackson very well.
Tell us about, were you active in high school and in programs?
Yes, I was. First of all, cheerleading was my thing. I've always wanted to be a cheerleader ever since I was probably in 3rd grade, and we used to practice even outside in the snow. So I did cheerleading all through elementary, junior high, high school, even through college. I was a cheerleader for football and for basketball. I was in Future Nurses of America, even though I wasn't a nurse. I was in ROTC. I was in the DECA Club. So I was very, very active in high school. And when I went to college, I was in Ladies of El Panis, I was in cheerleading, I was a resident assistant, I was a hall director. You name it, I was pretty busy. So, and then on top of all of that, I got married while I was in college. So I was a young college student and married going into my junior year.
Well, we're going to talk about your cheerleading experiences while you've been married. But I'd like to know, I'm from East St. Louis. I was educated in East St. Louis. And Greenville College, you mentioned, is near there, right?
It is. Greenville College is located about an hour east of St. Louis, Missouri. So East St. Louis is about an hour away. We had a lot of students that came from East St. Louis that attended Greenville College. It is now Greenville University. So yes, it's very, very close proximity to St. Louis.
Well, before we get too far, I'd like to know what activities are planned for this weekend at your 40th high school graduation. Now, I guess we're starting here because you just flew in today.
Right, I just flew in this morning. I did a book signing in North Chicago at a consignment shop from 1 until 3, and then I came right over here to do my interview with you. Lots of activities. They'll be giving back. I know they're going to be playing golf. That's one of the activities. I'm not really good at golfing, but they will be playing golf. They're going to be giving back in the community by picking up litter and trash throughout the Waukegan area, beautifying the area. We're having a meet and greet tonight, just wearing our school colors. I'll be in my purple and gold, which is proud school colors of Waukegan East. And I believe some of Waukegan West will be in their school colors joining us on tonight. And tomorrow night we'll be having a huge banquet. And there'll be a banquet and dancing and fellowship and catching up with old friends. And so we're excited about all of those activities. And just to see people after 40 years is amazing. Although I did come home last year, Waukegan welcomed me with open arms when my book launched. They provided a venue at the Waukegan Park Place Senior Center. I was there. I was greeted by a full capacity room, sold over 100 books, and it was very exciting. I had individuals there from elementary school, from junior high school, from high school. So that really warmed my heart to see that after all these years that people came out that I knew even since elementary to support me in my efforts.
You have a book that you just mentioned that you wrote. It's called More Than a Paycheck, and you mentioned it was released in June of 2017, and you sold over 1,000 copies to date.
Yes.
But what inspired you to write the book, More Than a Paycheck?
Well, thank you. That title means so much to me. More than a paycheck, first of all, I wrote the book because I was inspired by my husband.
Okay.
My husband and I will be married 37 years on August 15th of this year.
Congratulations. That's my son's birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, he graduated in 1972, but from
Okay.
North Chicago High
Okay,
School.
okay.
And they have a boat ride, Spirit of Chicago, I guess,
Okay.
on Saturday.
That sounds
Yeah,
like a lot of fun.
yeah,
Okay,
so-
yeah, we were rivals then. If I went to Waukegan and North Chicago, we're rivals, but you know, it boils down to for success. But I
ahead
was
with your-
inspired by my husband to write More Than a Paycheck. He inspired me to share our love story. It is really a love story, but more than a love story, he inspired me because he's an IT professional. And I always tell people, that's the type of work that he does from day to day, but that is not who he is. More Than a Paycheck exemplifies all of his characteristics that have absolutely nothing to do with the money that he brings into our household.
Okay.
Because as an IT professional, he was downsized during the economic turndown. He was downsized 3 different times.
3 times.
3 times, and one time it was for 2 years and 3 months. That was a very long time. So we had to dig deep to our core values to see what was it about our marriage that would make it not only survive but thrive financial loss. So
Okay.
the title of that book, More Than a Paycheck, talks about things that have nothing to do about monetary value, but much to do about character, integrity, his principles, the way he loves God, the way he loves his family. That's what the book is all about.
Well, how did you survive with with the downsizing 3 times?
Well, it was not easy, Dr. Brooks, let me tell you. There were days that we had to cling to each other. And like I said, we have core values in our marriage: faith, friendship, and fun. Our faith is what sustained us through those hard times. Our faith in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We both have a personal relationship with the Lord.
Okay.
And that is what sustained us through those dark and difficult days. And then our friendship. I like him even when I feel like I don't love him. I like him. I like
Okay.
being in his presence. I like being around him. I like the way that he supports me. He sees me that maybe other people can't see, the me that maybe I'm not always as confident as people think that
Yeah,
I might be.
yeah.
He sees me for who I am. And then fun. We have a lot of fun together. We laugh about things, maybe little things. Sometimes we lay up in bed and just laugh about just life. And so we try not to take life too seriously, but that's the way we get through those dark days, is our faith, our friendship, and we have a lot of fun together.
Well, you know, going through life, we're either in a storm, we're going in a storm, or coming out of a storm. So having faith is faith, friendship, and
Fun.
by having those that will bring you through.
Absolutely.
Now, is sharing your personal story difficult?
It was very difficult. When my husband first came to me and asked that I share our journey, I didn't want to share it. I actually ran it for 4 years. I kept saying, no, I don't want to share our story. There are 2 things people really don't want to talk about in their marriage, and that's intimacy, and they don't want to talk about the finances
Okay.
in most cases.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't want to share this with anyone. But he kept after me, goes, honey, if you share our story, you're going to help so many people, whether they're married, couples, because people need practical tools of what to do when unexpected events happen in life.
Yeah.
For us, the unexpected event of my husband losing his job over a course of 2 years and 3 months and being downsized 3 different occasions was very difficult. So for us to share that, to be very transparent, to not hide behind everything's okay, because a lot of times people will bury their heads in the sand when financial things happen in their marriage. They would bury their heads in the sand like, oh, everything's wonderful, everything's okay. So finally, when I surrendered and said, okay, I'll share our story, it began to unfold. And writing the book really wasn't hard once I surrendered. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to be as vulnerable and transparent. But I'm telling you, I have sold over 1,100 books from the time it has come out, and people have contacted me on my website, and they've shared with me how valuable the resources I've given them, because I give practical things for the wife to do and practical things for the husband to do when you're going through dark days. So it was difficult, Dr. Brooks, to be transparent and share my story, but oh, the joy of sharing it and the assignment that I've been given. I feel that I can go all over this world and share with folks the practical tools of what to do when unexpected things happen in your marriage, whether it's financial, unexpected death, unexpected loss of a loved one, unexpected job loss. All of those things, you need to know how to deal with them. So that's what helped me to do it.
And you mentioned that it's not just for married couples, but for engaged couples and
Yes.
other.
Absolutely. When I first wrote the book, I felt like the baby boomers, which I am a proud banner baby boomer in that generation.
Okay.
I didn't know how the millennials would embrace it.
Okay.
They have embraced it just overwhelmingly. I'm so pleased. I have 2 adult children, James, who's in the United States Navy and has served for over 14 years, and our daughter, Christine, we're so proud, who's a UGA grad. They're millennials. So when they supported me and gave me feedback, and their colleagues and friends have embraced the book, I was just so excited that they're embracing the book as well.
Yeah.
So all of that has come into play of cross generations with the baby boomers and those millennials coming into focus.
Well, now you mentioned about the website. What is your website in case people want to contact me?
Now listen, I want all of you, write this down. If you're driving, just listen. If you have your phones out, take a picture of the screen. My website is www.SharonLAlmon.com. If you go on my website, you can purchase the book right off my website. And I have a print book as well as an ebook. And you can also go to my contact tab. So after you read the book, I'd love to hear your feedback, your comments. If you share them with me, I'll be sure to respond. Many of my readers have reached out to me, shared what they've been going through, and I just love giving some recommendations. I don't have all the answers, but I certainly can give you some tools that have helped us, and I can give you some recommendations. So go to www.SharonLAlmon.com and check out my website. I have some inspirational stories on there. I have, you can purchase my book on there, and you can reach me and contact me. And I also have some television interviews where you can follow my journey, along with some radio interviews that you can listen to as well.
You know, I was sharing those, and I saw some great interviews on your website.
Thank you.
So people, if they go to their website, they'll find it.
Absolutely.
You know, and also your pastor and his wife are excited about what you're doing. You've been given a task in a church, too,
Yes,
right?
we have. I'll never forget when we moved. We lived in Illinois pretty much up until 1999. We
Okay.
relocated to Georgia.
Okay.
We started with the Ministry Word in Action Fellowship Churches in 2003. And I'll never forget the day our Bishop Wiley Jackson called us into his office and said that he felt the leading of the Lord to appoint us over the marriage ministry. So at first I was a little apprehensive, and my husband on the way home, Bishop said for us to pray about it, which we did. And my husband said, I really feel that we should do this because we've always had a heart for couples. We've been working with married couples for over 20 years. And so when he asked us and we prayed about it, we went back to Bishop and we said to Bishop and our First Lady, Mary Jackson, we will take up the challenge, we will take up what God is leading for us to do. And we have been excited about leading married couples in conferences, in workshops, in fun activities. We do everything. The whole premise of the marriage ministry within our ministry is to motivate people to take responsibility, to invest in their marriages, to make sure you have date nights, to keep the line of communication open, to make sure that your tone and timing is good. So we do all of that. We're about promoting healthy marriages, because if we promote healthy marriages, we'll build strong communities. If we build strong communities, we'll build strong states. If we build strong states, we'll build a strong nation. So I feel that we are challenged to help promote healthy relationships and build those strong marriages.
You know, I love that you comment, because when you build strong marriages, you also build strong communities, and we definitely need to be building stronger communities.
We certainly do. That is such my heart, especially in our communities where we sometimes have a breakdown in the family structure.
Yeah.
We need to really get around married couples, encourage them to stay together, just like you and your beautiful wife have been married 60 years. I mean, that is phenomenal.
That's a long time to be with one woman.
That's right.
With one man, too, I guess.
One woman, one man. And so you could write volumes around how to stay together. And we both know there's going to be some difficult, dark days.
Oh, yes.
Anyone that's been married, I say if you've been married over a year, you face some challenges, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
just having that period of adjustment is a challenge. But what I say, if they can hear me, if you're out there and you're married today and you know that you want to eventually have a family, it is so important to make investment in your relationship. People invest in their careers, they go to school, they get their master's, they get their doctorate, they get certifications, but they fail to invest through the most important relationship of their life, the journey called life. So we need to go back to school and make sure our marriages are strong. We need to have date night, we need to go to seminars, go to workshops, make sure that your mate is your priority. That's so important.
I'm missing one cameraman tonight. He said, Brooks, I cannot work as a cameraman on Fridays because that's my date night.
I love it. I love it.
And it really struck me, you know, and he's been married quite a few years.
And that's so important. You need to prioritize your relationship. And for us, it's God first, then my husband, and then it's outside things of my family and outside community effort. But it's God, then my husband, then our children, and then it's those outside things. But a lot of people will say, oh, your husband comes before your children? Yes, because a strong marriage and a strong relationship will mentor to those children what you want them to see. So if the breakdown of the marriage is not good, you no longer have a strong family unit.
And marriage, you grow in marriage too. Right?
Absolutely.
You don't take it for granted.
Don't take it for granted. The things maybe that used to bother us when we first got married, the first 1 or 2 years of marriage, when you're married 10, 15, 20, 30 years, coming up for us 37, it's just like water off the back. So you do grow in marriage and you begin to accept the person unconditionally. We all have faults. None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. Let me say that again.
What would this world be if everyone would be like me?
Right, exactly.
You know.
And what's helped us is the strengths in my husband help me with my weaknesses. And my strengths help him with his weaknesses.
Okay.
So we both have things within our relationship that helps each other. I tend to be a very motivated, high energy person. My husband is very calm and matter-of-factly. So I need his calm when I'm up here, and then he needs my energy sometimes when he's here. So we help one another, and that's very important.
We have to mention this, what God joined together, let no man put asunder, right?
That's true.
And evidently God has put the two of you together.
He did, and I have a funny story to tell, and I don't always tell this story. When I went away to college, I was actually dating someone else, and my husband was dating someone else, and that went to they went to different universities. And my husband and I, when we met, we were just strictly friends, just like two females would be platonic friends. He had a girlfriend, I had a boyfriend. We were just friends. But the more time we spent to one another, with one another, we realized we had so much in common. We just like being in each other's presence. So needless to say, we both broke up with who we were dating, and we became an item, you should say, and dated each other and eventually became husband and wife. So
amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, because you know what, lust only pleases the flesh.
Right.
You know, so you're going to have to be more than just lust.
Right. God, yes. I must tell you, lust is only going to take you so far. That or the human and romantic side of your relationship, it will only get you so far. But you're going to need more. And I really believe being friends, you need to like your mate.
Okay.
Because love is a strong word, it's a strong emotion, but a lot of people, they don't even like their mates. You need to like your mate when you have to face hard and difficult challenges together, because if you don't like that person, you're not going to get through those hard, difficult days, because you're going to start seeing them. They're not going to look so cute or so handsome to you when there's no money in the bank, right? Or if you wake up and there is no money and your 401k is gone and you don't have a job, what are you going to cling to? And that goes back to the title, More Than a Paycheck. If you don't have integrity, respect, honor, longevity in the relationship, when that paycheck is gone, whether it's the husband or the wife, you're going to throw up your hands and I'm done. I want out. But if you have all of those other characteristics, you're going to stay.
I was thinking about that challenge, too, that you just mentioned, the impact that lack of finances have on marriages.
Yes.
That's a huge challenge. It's
a huge challenge. And the lack of finances can impact many areas, and I share about this in the book. It can impact your communications. A lot of people will shut down. Their tone intensifies. They're not as comfortable talking when there's a lack of money. So you start attacking each other with the word you instead of saying I feel. We use a lot of I feel in our relationship. This is how I feel when this happens versus you, because when you bring that word you into the mix, people automatically go on the defense. It can attack the area of your intimacy when there's lack of finances.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I always tell people, this is not the time to pull back from your loved one when someone's unemployed, especially for the man. A man likes to provide for their family. Females and women, we need security. Men need respect, and they need the physical side of the relationship, but women need security. If a man feels that he no longer is employed and can bring finances into that home, and then as his wife, I pull away sexually, let's just put it out there and transparently, he feels my job doesn't want me, so I'm rejected from corporate America, or I'm whatever your job is, whether it's white collar or blue collar, I'm now rejected from having employment, and I no longer can provide for my wife or my family, and now my wife is rejecting me. So emotionally, I'm rejected. She doesn't want me physically. She doesn't want me emotionally. So there's rejection on all sides. I really encourage you, if you're listening to me and your husband has been downsized from a job or has not worked for a certain amount of time, this is the time he needs you to be his personal cheerleader, to say, I have your back during this difficult time. He needs to know when he comes across that threshold after he's been out looking for jobs and the door's been shut in his face, that you have his back and that you're not going anywhere and that you're going to stay there through this difficult, dark day. So this is the time he needs you emotionally, and he needs you spiritually, and he certainly needs you physically. It's very important.
You know, how does your getting along affect your children too? Because they're growing up too and they're watching mom and daddy.
Exactly.
And that has a great effect on
has a great effect. When the first time my husband was downsized, our children were going to high school. And I had a daughter, probably her sophomore year, and our son was going to freshman year in college. So it was so funny. Children are just very blunt and transparent. The first thing they said, do we have enough money for food and groceries, and are we going to have to move out of our house? So we kind of laughed at that at that particular time. We said, no, we're not going to have to move out of the house. During the times of plenty, I saved. We were savers. We would tithe 10% of our earnings, and we would save our finances. So we did have savings. We had our 401k. So the very first time, it impacted us, but not as devastating as later years, because it was 3 different times. So the first downsizing when it impacted us was in 2003. So I just switched all of our insurance over to mine, and so we kind of continued to roll as normal, as usual. But it was the latter impact in 2008 and 13 that really was the devastating point.
Now, you are a very inspirational person. So inspiration is one of the glues, the glue you together, right?
They glue us together. And look, I'm going to tell my television audience, these lights are hot, so I'm going to be transparent. It's a little warm up here. I need the fan. So anyway, yes, I always say that God gave me tools all throughout my life to prepare for this time.
Okay.
So when I was a cheerleader, those skill sets worked well with what I had to deal with my husband.
Okay.
So I was able to undergird him and to cheer for him, to let him know, you are not alone. We're going to make it together.
Okay.
So I did all of those things to make sure that he knew that, because you don't just cheer for your team when they're winning. When you're a cheerleader, your mandate is to cheer even when the score is low, even when it's 56-0, you're out there cheering for your team. Same thing stands when you're married. You don't just cheer for your husband when he's bringing home the paycheck. You cheer for him even when he's not. You cheer for each other.
You know, comment on this, the book here, More Than a Paycheck. We may flash it on the screen too. A wife's story of faith, love, and let's see.
It's basically it's a wife's story of faith, love in the face of adversity.
Okay.
So, and ours was financial adversity. So it's told from a wife's perspective, but it's our love story in general. And I love the various chapters. I have chapters on communication. I have chapters on intimacy. I have chapters on what my parents taught me, because how we deal with finances really stem from what our parents taught us about money and how to deal with money and how to approach money. And for us, my parents, I always saw them pull their money together, tie that 10%, pay all of their bills, save, and then make sure that they did that each and every month to keep the family going. So I use those same principles in our marriage and our relationship.
It's fantastic. And we want to definitely keep in mind, you have 3 keys, and these are basic keys, and others may have other keys, but yours, you pick out some good ones: faith, friendship, and fun, you know.
So true. And I just want to say about those 3 core principles, wherever we travel, people always say to us, what are the core principles of your marriage and your relationship? And for us, our faith, friendship, and fun are the core principles of our relationship. Thank you, Dr. Brooks. He saw me getting a little warm over here. But I'm good. Such a gentleman.
That'll help you get. You mentioned here things my parents taught me.
Yes. That chapter, Things My Parent Taught Me, is kind of what I said just a few moments ago. Many of us deal with finances, we deal with our intimacy, we deal with communication by what our parents taught us, whether they said it vocally or they mentored that to us. And so for my parents, I saw them mentor to me a loving relationship. I saw them mentor how they pulled their money together. It was never, this is my money, this is your money. It was our money. So my husband and I, we view that the same. This was our money. So that's how we look at our finances.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, we mentioned about communication. They say, how does communication style impact the marriage? And you got a chapter in here about talk to me.
About communication. Well, you know, this is really funny. They say women, and it's true, women, we speak about 20,000 words a day. Men speak about 5,000 or 6,000 words a day.
Okay.
So what does that really mean when it comes down to it? Women can come up with so many answers. While you're thinking about it, I'm way up the road, right?
Okay.
So what we have to do as women sometimes is to pull back and let a man get his thoughts together so that he can communicate effectively. So sometimes as women, we have to be better listeners. That's still a form of communication. And I always say that's why God gave us 2 ears, so that we can listen in one mouth, listen more, speak less. So for me, I had to remember that timing and tone was everything. It wasn't always what I said, it was how I said it and when. To be effective, sometimes when my husband would be out there working, and I can give a great example, sometimes I really wanted to know, well, what jobs have you looked for and what? So instead of being an interrogator when he first came through the door, right, it might be best to say, okay, honey, you know, let's eat dinner first or whatever. Then after he's eaten his meal and feeling good, then it might be time, you know, would you like to share with me how your day went? How's your job search going? But not in a interrogating way, but in a way of concern and a way of support. And what my husband did to help me to see what he was doing was he would just write down a list of the jobs that he was researching or applying for, and he would pull me aside, not every day, but at least once a week, and say to me, baby, these are the jobs that I have actually applied for this week. And even though he might not have gotten those jobs, it made me feel good to know, okay, he's doing something. He's out there, he's applying for positions. So that helped me to feel better.
You know, we say there will always going to be dog days.
Yes.
You know, I mentioned about the storm. You know, you're either in a storm, going through a storm, or coming out of a storm. But you got a chapter in here: the sun will shine again. Not going to always be dark.
Exactly. I like to equate, and this is so exciting, I like to equate a marriage as a seasons that you're going through.
Okay.
There are going to be days that are sunny. Everything is going just wonderful. The kids are in school. You're doing great. There's no problems. The money's in the bank. Everybody's careers are soaring. It's just amazing and wonderful. Those are sunny days, right?
Okay.
There's going to be days that are cloudy. This is our weather forecast. It's not bad, but there might be a little shadow. Something happened during the day, didn't make you feel good, but you're going to bounce back. Then there's going to be days that might be a tornado. Now, we know when a tornado happens, it happens usually really fast. There's not a lot of warning.
Yeah.
It happens, it hits, and you've got to recover it. That's going to be a longer time period of recovery. Then there's going to be days that there's going to be a tsunami that hits you. A tsunami comes out of nowhere. It hits hard, it hits fast, it's devastating. You have no idea how you're going to recover. But it's seasonal, and it's not going to last always. And when I say you're going to go through a weather forecast, different days, sunny, cloudy, tornadoes, tsunamis, the sun will shine again, which means there are going to be good days again. What my husband and I went through, we're still coming out financially, but we're not last month where we were last year. The journey is getting much better. We're getting back on board. Of course, my honey's working full time again. He's doing, and even that looks different. He's a contractor now versus a permanent employer. So, but he's been doing that for the last 3 years. And what I say, all green money looks alike, spends alike, saves alike, right?
Okay.
So we had to look at the economy a little differently than we did. Most baby boomers got jobs and they felt they were married to their jobs. They were going to last their lifetime, right, and retire. But we have to look at jobs differently. It's more like a date. You go on the job, you give it the best you can, and then you get some experience and you might have to move on to the next position. You go to a job, you work it as best you can at a high level, and you get more experience than you were. So you got to kind of look at it like millennials and your Generation Zs are looking at jobs. You get good experience, but you might not be married to that job forever and ever, and you might have to take that experience and move it on to something else. So things have gotten better in the area of our careers. I'm passionate about what I'm doing with my book and being an author, and what I'm doing with my career. So things are going good. It's much better. Our journey has turned around in the right direction.
I can identify with what you're saying. My father and stepfather worked on a job for 40 years, the same job. Can you imagine 40 years? But it's not like that anymore.
It's not like that anymore. The economy doesn't support that anymore. When the economic turned down and many jobs went overseas, as you know, things never really have gotten back. Even salaries, when you take a 6-digit salary out of your home for several years, it makes a negative impact, right?
Okay.
So things have not totally gotten back. Salary ranges are different. Employers know that it's an employer's market. So all of that means so much for that.
And also training too. You mentioned about your husband, but you have to be willing to get trained, because with the electronic age and so forth, computer age,
especially as baby boomers. I think the millennials come here, and as babies born now, they're swiping at the age of 2, aren't they?
Okay.
So you have to be flexible. Be flexible with your career. Be able to go back and retool. I say retool your career.
Yeah.
Be open that you might not get the same salary that you had before.
Okay.
So you have to adjust to that. I always tell people budget items. If you're in debt, start coming up with a debt sustaining plan that you'll get yourself out of the debt. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a journey. So don't beat yourself up. You didn't get in debt overnight, and you're not going to get out of debt. But come up with a plan to slowly start paying back those creditors. And I always tell people, don't bury your head in the sand. Pick up that phone. If you owe, talk to your creditors, let them know this is what's happened to me. Can I set up a payment plan? And many of them will do that. They'll set up a payment plan, and because they're just happy that you reach out to them. So that's very important. And live again. Make it joyful. Find things that you don't have to spend money on. Some days when we didn't have money, we live in a homeowners association. We use the pool. We're already paying those fees anyway, right?
Right.
So we go to the pool, we play tennis. And if you don't, some people have written in, well, what if I don't live in a HOA community that has swimming pools or tennis courts? Go to your parks. You pay taxes. Go to your parks. You don't have to pay to go to a park. You can make your lunch in a picnic basket. You don't have to go get fast food. Make sandwiches at home. Make a picnic basket. Your kids will love it. Your husband will love it. And normally, most park districts have swimming pools. If you want to go there, you might have to pay a little small fee, but you can go there. Most YMCAs, if you're having hard times, will offer scholarships. So I like to give practical tools, and in my book I do give practical tools of what to do if you're in a situation where you can't afford to do certain things. You can create and make gifts. You can bake. There's a lot of things you can do that you don't have to spend a lot of money on. That creates a family environment, creates and continues to have love for not just your mate, but also for your children to see.
Ms. Almon, I can see that you are a visionary. And because here I see on chapter 8, you said the peach, quote unquote, state of mind. And the peach for referring to Georgia, you know, it's a
right.
peach state,
peach
right?
State of mind. Yes, because when we first moved there, all those peach tree streets. I was like, where in the world did they come up with all of this?
Yeah.
Every street you drove down had that name on there.
Okay.
And so around the corner. But it is a Georgia peach state of mind. I love it there now. It's home. Of course, I'll never forget Waukegan. I was born at St. Therese Hospital.
Okay.
And but it's home now. It's my home away from home. Waukegan will forever be my birthplace. And I would be remiss if I didn't speak towards my parents, the late Reverend Preston Barrett, evangelist Preston Barrett, who was a national evangelist in the Church of God in Christ, and my mother, Mother Lucille Barrett, who transitioned April 3rd of 2016, and she will be forever in my heart. I am the lady I am today. I am the wife I am today. I am the mother I am today because of my mom, Mother Lucille Barrett. I love her. She lived many years right there at Lilac Ledge. She took her last breath in my arms. I was in her arms when she took her last breath. And I feel so honored. I was traveling back and forth from Waukegan, Illinois, to be with her. And she helped co-write the second chapter, What My Parents Taught Me. So I would tell my viewers, love your parents. They're, you only get one mom and dad. Love on them, learn from them life lessons. And she knew our journey. She was alive when we were going through some of these challenges, and she would lift me in prayer and bathe me in prayer and tell me, Sharon, you all are going to make it. And she was so encouraging throughout our marriage. So I have to give her tribute.
Why Atlanta?
Well, this is exciting. My sister, who's been married 45 years, I have good history with her, Barbara Mayfield and Floyd Mayfield. They've been married for 45 years. I went to, when they were married, 25 years to the renewal. And we just fell in love with the community. And so once my husband found out that he can transition his employment there, we decided to take the plunge. And it's been the best thing that's ever happened. So that's why we moved to Georgia.
Okay, I mentioned that because people move for different reasons. The wife and I started in this area not knowing anybody. So that shows you, you can make it. But I would say this, yesterday is gone, today is a gift. We call it the present, tomorrow may never be. And I thought about that when in chapter 7 you say life in transition. You just don't know. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And I'll share real quickly, when we were getting ready to move, everything just fell into place. We had a house here to sell. And we kept flying back and forth looking for a home. We finally went there and found our dream home was being built.
Okay.
Our home sold so quickly, and God just worked everything out for our good. So we're very blessed.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, what's your ultimate goal?
Well, my ultimate goal is that I want to be an ambassador. I want to be ambassador for building healthy marriages, and especially from a wife's perspective. But my mission is to go around this country, the United States, and even international, sharing how to build healthy relationships, sharing how you can keep your marriage strong if you're willing to make an investment. I am encouraging everyone, invest in your relationship. You can have heaven on earth if you're willing to make an investment. So my long-term goals is to sell not just 1 million copies. I would love to sell 1 trillion. And you can help me today by going to my website, www.SharonLAlmon.com. I have a print book as well as an ebook. Please help me to get to my 1 million copies or more. And you can buy my book on Amazon.com. I'm in Barnes & Noble. And I would love you to come to this journey with me.
I know your pastor and his wife are just excited. Who wouldn't be excited to have someone so inspirational, and a visionary, a junior husband?
Yes, and our Bishop Wiley Jackson from Atlanta, Georgia, he has been so supportive.
Okay.
I had 2 book signings at the church, and they have been just outpoured their love. And our First Lady, Mary Jackson, she's my personal cheerleader. She just loves on me and supports me more than you know.
So what happens at this, when you counsel them, is it like a retreat that you have, call them together, or do you do it just individually?
Well, we have conferences.
Or both.
We have had conferences over the years.
Okay.
And then Bishop assigned us, and we can do one-on-one counseling as well. And I call it more coaching than anything. So, and sometimes we'll have couples come for a little brunch in our home. We'll make brunch, and we'll sit down, and we'll break bread together. So we do that under the direction and leadership of our bishop.
Now, it's been since 2006.
Yes. Actually, we joined the ministry, became a part of it in 2003, and he appointed us in 2006. So about 12 years we've, been chugging along there.
Do you and your husband have any time for leisure time activities?
Yes, we do. We have to pull away. Whenever we have a weekend trip like this weekend is fun, and we're going to the Southern Caribbean for our 37th anniversary. We'll be in Aruba. We'll be doing St. Thomas and not St. Thomas, Aruba and Dominican Republic and some other islands. St. Thomas is at the Eastern Caribbean. But we've never done the Southern Caribbean, so we're excited about that. So that's coming up.
I've had, with his wife and I have had 2 Caribbean cruises, but I got seasick on the second one, and that kind of shied me away.
Oh.
Well,
you'll have to try it again. 60 years, but do what's fun. You deserve whatever.
We had a couple that this was their 12th cruise,
Wow.
So
I think this is our 5th cruise. We love them. We love them. It's a good time you meet a lot of people from different backgrounds. It's a time to fellowship and have just time to let your mind unwind and rest. But I'm always talking about the book more than a paycheck.
Right. This is fantastic. Promoting healthy marriages, not just a routine marriage. Some people just together.
Yes.
But it's different between just being married and having a healthy marriage.
That's true, because you could be married 60 years, but it could not be healthy. You're just there to stay together. I always tell people, put your marriage first, because the children will leave. They are eventually going to go,
no
right?
doubt about that.
They're going to eventually go. And you want something. Some people live for their children, and then when the children leave, they have nothing there. We built a relationship so that when our children left, my husband always tells me, babe, it's me and you, babe. And I always remember that. We love our children, but it's my husband and I. Right.
Well, we talked about Waukegan, but what about Stone Mountain, Georgia?
Stone Mountain is nestled
I assume that's a suburb of Atlanta.
It's a suburb. It's nestled about 20 miles east of Atlanta. It's a small town, and I enjoyed it. It's quaint, and we've made a lot of friends there. Very busy with the Homeowners Association, and we love being out in the suburbs.
Okay. Now, when you came back to there's a major change in Waukegan now since you've been
Yes,
back to...
it's very different. The demographics have changed. It's still a quaint, beautiful little town. It's bigger, I'm sure, than what I remember. We always like to drive down the streets we live, just to walk down memory lane. But yeah, and then the lakefront is gorgeous.
Yes.
That lakefront looks beautiful off Lake Michigan. So yeah, I do love coming home. It's different for me now that my mother is no longer with us in the physical being. I would come home every year. I came home for her birthday, May 12th. But it's different coming back now that she's not here. But I do have some family here. I have a beautiful niece and her husband. He's a pastor. They don't live in Waukegan, but they live in the area. So we stay with them when we come. So that's coming home. She's like a sister to me. So
That's fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you have include community forum on your schedule, and coming home, because you get a chance to reach a few people. Like community forum is 100,000 people, the subscribers, and of course we reach Cook County, Kenosha County, and as well as Lake County. And if you have not been known, now you mentioned about the cruises, you've been gone, but if you have not been known all over the world, you will be now.
Well, thank you, Dr.
Because
Brooks.
this community forum airs online.
Great.
Online, and for our listeners, viewers, it's drbrooks.tv.
Oh, good.
They can turn on drbrooks.tv now, and in a couple of days, you'll see Sharon Almon again.
Well, good. I'm sure they'll get a good dose of what more than a paycheck is all about. And I just want to say, Dr. Brooks, I have so enjoyed just spending time with you. We could be transparent, right? And candid, and it's nice and cool in here now. So I'm cooled off, audience.
I know you're not as sweating as much as you.
Yeah, it's nice and cool now. But I have really enjoyed our time together and talking about healthy marriages, because I know you believe in that. 60 years, and I'm coming up to 37.
Okay.
And I want those 100,000 viewers. You can help me get closer to my million in sales. Go on my website. The book is very nominal. You can definitely afford it. Go on my website today at www.Sharon L Almon and purchase your book today. You will love it. Most people say they get through it within 2 hours, and it's a nice font. It's nice and large, and I think you'll love it. It's a love story. It's a journey, and I give practical tools what to do when unexpected events happen. So whether you're married, engaged, or single, you can enjoy the book.
This is fantastic, reaching the whole gamut there. Wives, newlyweds, engaged couples, even mature couples.
That's right.
They go into.
That's right.
And well, you have that communication going and sharing.
Yes.
That helps too.
Yeah, sharing love always, and that's my logo, sharing love always, on my website, and it was birthed from my name. My name is Sharon L Almon, so Sharon L Almon is sharing love always.
Fantastic. Well, again, you haven't started your activities yet, but what activities you mentioned?
Well, tonight we'll be doing meet and greet. I'm excited. I'm gonna go change clothes and get comfortable and do a little meet and greet tonight. I can't wait to see everyone and wishing everyone well. And I've got my honey with me. He's just outstanding. I call him Sweet Reese, and he's called Sweet Reese for a reason. He's just that. So he's with me the whole weekend. So this is date weekend, I should say, for us.
Okay.
Just my honey and I, and we're empty nesters now, so we can get up and go and pack our bag quick and get on the road.
This is fantastic. Well, I want to thank you very much again. Sharing love always. In other words, when you get into marriage, it's to death do us part.
It is.
I mean, that's what...
It should be, because I feel I have a covenant marriage, which is different than a contract. A contract you can tear up and say, if you do this, I'll do this. If you do this, that's a contract marriage, a contractual marriage. But I have a covenant marriage, which means regardless of what happens, unconditionally, we are there for the long haul. So we're committed to the process.
This is fantastic. Well, I'm definitely going to... well, first of all, we met each other by telephone, I guess, a couple of weeks ago.
We certainly did.
Been too long ago,
We
and
certainly did.
you were just as energetic and inspirational as you were then. So when we saw each other for the first time tonight, it's like we've been knowing each other all the time.
I feel
And that's the way life should be, right?
It should be. And I feel like that, Dr. Brooks, like I've known you forever, and we've talked on the phone, we laughed, and it's been wonderful. It really has.
But you knew me before I knew you because you went to drbrooks.tv.
That's right. I certainly did. And we will share that on our link.
Yeah.
We will put it on my Facebook page. We'll make sure we tweet it out on Twitter and Instagram. We'll make sure once this airs that everybody will be able to see it within my my contacts and get that information out.
And also, this will help in workplaces too. You know, I'm sure that will people will share their experiences at their workplaces and would help there too.
Yes, my husband has. Many of my books have sold through my husband as well. His colleagues, sometimes they've just heard about the book. They've approached him at work. I heard your wife wrote a book. I'd like to buy one. So he'll come home, babe. The books just sell.
Fantastic.
They have really been selling.
Fantastic.
So I'm excited about that.
Well, I'm going to give you a chance to tell us a little bit about relationship coaching, and you mentioned about your relationship coach, your author, motivational speaker, promoting healthy marriage. How do you have time for all that?
You know, Dr. Brooks, I have to give God all the glory. I don't take any credit for any of the gifts that I have.
Okay.
I believe God has placed in me the ability to multitask.
Okay.
And sometimes I even have to have boundaries with that, but I enjoy, they say if you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life.
Okay.
I love life. I love what I do. So I find I'm able to do it and I flow under God's anointing. It's not Sharon doing all of these things. It's through Christ that I'm able to do all of the things that I do. So he helps me to be a wife, the mother, and I'm a new nana. I have a first granddaughter that's 7 months old.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you. My husband and I are loving on Jade, and Jade Miracle Almon is her name. And so I'm a nana, I'm a mother, I'm a career person, and I do all of that. I make time to do all those things, but I also make time to rest. But I love what I do. I'm passionate about life. I'm passionate about helping others, making an impact. That's who I am. If people out there are saying, who is Sharon Almon? Sharon Almon wants to make positive impact and change in the lives of others. So whether that's with reentry services for those coming home from incarceration, whether it's in relationships with folks who are married, whether it's in a relationship with folks who are thinking about getting married, whether it's someone who's had an unexpected death, that's what I do. And that's how I make time for all the things.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with Sharon L Almon, former resident of Waukegan, Illinois, graduate of Waukegan East High School, 1978, and is visiting us after 40 years. She come back to a high school reunion. She's a relationship coach, author, and motivational speaker promoting healthy marriages, and that's what we need here in this area. As a matter of fact, all over the world. She's from Stone Mountain, Georgia. And Sharon, we just thank you very much for sharing your time.
Thank you so much.
To be with us on the Community Forum.
Thank you for
and
having me.
And you know that the over 100,000 people really enjoyed this this evening.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Brooks, for having me. I have enjoyed myself immensely. It's been a joy.
This has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.